Alright, YouTube, it's your boy Freddie B, aka the Urban Fisherman, coming back at y'all again. Just letting y'all know about these here Evinrude flickers, and I'ma just say both are problem motors. They are seriously problematic. They have a lot of problems. These motors, man, I've gotten to the point where it's like I'm not spending another dollar in them. I've put money into both of them and I'm tired. So all in all, I'm gonna go through everything that I've done to both of these motors. They still both run, but we'll get into it right now. We'll get into it right now. Let me take the cowlings off and I'll break down the problems I'm having. A lot of people had a lot more problems than me. And when I purchased the boat, it came with these here, and the price of the boat was very, very low. And a lot of guys told me, hey, if they're running, go ahead and buy. It's a good price. Just go ahead and purchase it and you can repower later. My plan was 2 years and then I'll repower. Obviously, they've been giving me problems from day one, and it has not stopped till today. I mean, it has not stopped till today. Still with problems. Still got lights coming on. It's horrible. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. Y'all can see both of the motors here. This is what they both look like. I want y'all to pay attention to all this oil and soot and all the rest of this stuff here. This one, same thing, not as bad, but y'all see. All right, so with this one, let me climb on the boat and turn this thing a little bit. All right, so as y'all can see in here where this little red thing is, this is the fuel pump. So at the dealership where I bought this boat from, this pump was gone. It was no good. They had to put a new pump in. This one here, the starboard motor ran port, we had a problem with, which was that pump here. So what the guy did was order the pump for this. So I had to wait for this pump. And what they decided to do is, you see where that clamp is. Let's see if I can get in here. Where this clamp is here, this one here, they cut this off. So they took the hose here, sliced it, because it didn't click onto this. It didn't have the little black ring on the top. So they cut the high pressure hose and put that pump on. So the boat ran. And when I test drove the boat, it ran awesome. I was like, all right, cool. I got home, I noticed it was leaking gas all down the side of the motor. I was like, what is going on with this? So they told me that I can call their mechanic. If any problems, you know, call their mechanic. Call their mechanic and you guys guess it. He didn't answer the phone. He didn't show back up. You know, the whole 9 yards. So I called another mechanic and I told him what the problem was. And it was one of those, you know, mechanics that come out to your house, a mobile mechanic. He came, he took the pump off. He said it was an O-ring, a little green ring in the bottom. He said, I carry them. So he put a new O-ring in the bottom. And he said the pan that it sits in was broken and he replaced the pan. I paid for that. I'm like, cool. I came and I wasn't even home. He fixed it. My wife was here. He left. Paid him in cash. So I'm like, I'm gonna take the boat out this weekend. It's all good. I ran it here in the house when I got here. So came to that Saturday morning, I said, let me crank this up. I'm gonna get out here and go get it. I'm finna, you know, do some fishing. Crank the boat up, gas start pouring out. I said, what the freak's going on here? I just had this fixed. How is this happening? I called that mechanic back. He was busy, couldn't get here. So I called another mechanic. I called the other mechanic. That mechanic came out. He says, man, you got the wrong pump on this boat. I'm sweating, y'all, so it is what it is. He said, you got the wrong pump. You had the wrong pump on the boat. I said, okay. So what do I got to do? He said, you're going to have to order another pump, the one that got the O-ring part on it. He said, you also going to have to order the new rail for it, which is, where is it at? Here. So these here, all this comes together, and this one, that one, that one. And it's two on both sides. So you got one there. I don't know, it's kind of bright on that side. So you have one here, and then there's one behind it in black. So you got the white and the black. These are the two lines. So all this comes in one piece. I'm gonna have to order a new one of those so that I can get the part that clicks onto it that properly goes on it, because it was too much pressure on the hose, because they put like a little piece of black hose on it, like some of this stuff here, and with these, and went to leaking everywhere, leaking like a screen door in a submarine. So they replaced it. I got the new pump, I got that, the mechanic installed it, all that's running. Okay, now I have no more leak on this. We're pretty much good to go. I get out in the water, running pretty good until I got to Elliott Key. I got to Elliott Key, this motor just shut off. I mean, completely shut off, wouldn't cut back on. It would not do anything. I got scared thinking, okay, everybody keeps talking about the computer because water goes through it and these things burn up. Once before this had a fan inside it, and the fan would burn it up. So I'm thinking it's probably this. I mean, they literally would do absolutely positively nothing. So I'm like, oh God, this one's out. I called up the mechanic, and I did the spark plugs on this thing. As y'all see, they're new, dirty as all out because we've been working on this thing. New fuel water separator, which was put in back when I first got it, even the ones on the inside. But anyway, got out there, and it wouldn't make a sound. Not one nowhere, nothing. So this thing did absolutely nothing. The other one cut on, so I drove back in with the port motor. Starboard, nothing, not a sound. I'm like, did the battery die? Did the starter go out? What happened? Don't know. It was crazy. I got back in, called the mechanic, same mechanic who fixed the other side. He came out, he looked at it, he went to checking the computers. He didn't think it was the computer because he took the one off of this motor, put it over here. It's still the same thing. He started checking all the wires. I mean, he was here probably 2 or 3 days just checking wires and stuff. He said, man, you need a new wiring harness. I believe it's something with the wiring harness because it's not sending the signal from here to the key switch. They checked the key switches, it's not the key switch. They used the one on the other side to check it. He's like, it's not the key switch. It's something in the signal going to it. So I ordered a wiring harness, which I have that one in the shed here. Ordered another wiring harness. Cost me $200 and some change. The other wiring harness, we came to find out when he went to remove the wiring harness was split into two. So the wire harness from the front didn't quite reach here, and they spliced it and cut and put another one in. So it was down in the bottom of the boat, getting wet and nasty and everything else. Of course, it went out. So he was like, hey, the one we got, it's not gonna work. We're gonna get another one. And I purchased that off eBay because they don't have new parts. You can't get the new parts. You have to buy from eBay. And they have the new ones, but it's on eBay. It's hot out here. Don't pay me no attention. Ordered that. Got another wiring harness that matched, that went from one end to the other, because it was one end on this side, a different end on the other side. So we got one that's uniform, matches everything. Ordered that. He came, he installed that. Motor crunk up, running. All right. I'm good to go now. Now we got both motors running. Went out again. Let's see what happened after that. I went out and I was running this motor here. I'm driving along. This is what I'm telling y'all. I'm driving along, and right here where the shift link is, let's see if I can get this camera in here. Right here where this shift link is, the whole metal part that's connected to the motor back here blew out. The motor blew. Didn't make one sound. No bells, alarm, or nothing went off. Motor was still running. Y'all understand? Still running. But the whole boat just slowed down. So I went from running at full speed, well, not full speed, but cruising at about 40 to the boat slowing down to around 15, 16 miles an hour. I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on? I'm thinking, is the boat taking on water? Why is it slowing down? I shifted into in neutral. I went to the back, motor spin. Looked on this side, port starboard, motor spin. I see, what the heck's going on? I put both throttles and pushed forward. Motor took off, whoa, only getting 15 miles an hour. I say, what the heck is going on with this thing? So I dropped it back into neutral. I accelerated on one motor, which was the starboard motor. Boat went forward. I say, okay. I dropped it back. I went to the port motor, pushed port motor, boat didn't move. My thinking was, okay, the shift link here, the one that's down here, I had something that had pins in it. I said the pin must have popped out. Had to be the pin. I didn't even take the top off. I said, let me just turn around and drive back on home. I turned around, I went back home. That's before I knew that the hole blew out here. And I had my best friend, his cousin, his motor did the same thing. He welded his back on. I was like, nah, I'm not welding anything. Same exact spot and everything. Same motor he had. He ended up, I'll tell y'all about it later. He ended up switching, but same exact thing. It blew out in that spot there. I couldn't shift. So I said, you know what? I'll just buy another block. Buying another block, the new one with warranties and stuff on it. They want anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000. I said, no way, I'm not doing it. I'm not spending that type of money on this. So I found a used Powerhead for 800 bucks off of eBay. It was actually at a mechanic shop. I called the shop before I even purchased it. I spoke with the guy. He said, hey, it has good compression, the motor's good, this, that, and other. That's the motor that you see here now. So had the motor pulled off. The mechanic, I sent it to his shop. My mobile mechanic has a shop, but he only has one bay. He pulled this one off, the Powerhead off, put on this new Powerhead. So now I got, you know, new but used Powerhead. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna be good to go with this and the other one. Showed me it on the videos, everything. Now mind y'all, these motors only have 600 hours on it. Pretty much brand new for a 2004, pretty much new. I mean, besides the little bit of rust here and there, but it's pretty much new. Got back home with this. I said, I'm gonna go out, test it. I went out and drove the boat. The boat started doing this. Just this one. Start shaking like this. I said, oh my God, must have water inside of it. But I changed all the fuel water separators. I even checked the one in the bottom. And I say, problems. What's going on? No lights on, no nothing, but the motor's just shaking. And I know from before, is usually you need to change the fuel water separator so we can get that situated. Call the mechanic up, come check it out. I don't know what's going on with it. He came, put it on the computer, he started checking stuff. He says, man, we got our oil, it's not pumping any oil. I said, oh God, now what? We got this pump here. It's one of the oil pumps. It's another pump. It's another one on here. So this is one of the pumps. This is the pickup pump. And then you have a pump, I think it's on this side. Exactly where it's at. Let's see, I'm not sure. It's another pump too. He said we got to check both of those pumps, and then you have the one that's down in the oil reservoir for the two-stroke oil. He said we're gonna have to check all those. So he told me go ahead and buy this one. So I went and bought this one. It's right here, brand new. It's like 200 bucks, 200 and some change, almost $300 for that. Put that on just in case. The other pump was fine. So he said we'll check the oil in the bottom. Check that. Everything was good with that. So it ended up being the reeds. When the reeds are not working right, which I didn't even know was on this motor, because I know the carburetor with the reeds that open and close. So there's reeds in the back here. He took those off, cleaned the reeds, it's pumping enough oil. That was for this weekend. So January 20, matter of fact, I'll look at my phone now. Hold on one second, guys. See if I can even open my phone with my greasy fingers. Okay. So what day are we? All right. So on Saturday the 23rd. So on the 23rd of Saturday, which was just passed right now, I took this boat out. Ran the boat. Now it's pumping oil, everything's good. I got to the exact same spot. When I got over the Elliott Key or Caesar's Cut to go ahead and cut through, this motor began to shut off. And I like, what's going on now? We got another problem. So I go in and I check it. I see that the primer ball, I'm guessing, is low. The primer ball is not working. The primer ball I put on almost 2 years ago. Primer ball has a problem. I say, okay, probably need to just fix the primer ball on this. I prime it up, it'll crank up. A minute later it shuts down. If I hit the throttle, it just dies out. I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll drive back in on my port motor. So I go to driving back in on port, and port motor, it starts vibrating and the RPMs are going up, but the boat's hardly moving. I say, here we go. Had a few boats, so I kind of know the problems. I say, man, here we go again. I say the prop must have spun. So if you look down here, using some old props, you see, here's the other starboard side. Look at the port side. You see here, all blacked out. So I know inside of this is out of them. So I would have to take this to the prop shop to get this repropped in, to get this here situated and put all this stuff back. There's a reason it's all burnt in here, because all the rubber, and it had a puff of smoke come out. So I know this thing just went to spinning like crazy. And I had enough. I was going back in at like 5-6 knots. That took me forever to get back in. And I'm like, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm not spending any more money for this thing. So if you got buy a boat that have the Everrude flickers on it, I'm talking about they started flickers back in, I believe, 1997 or 1998, before they went, and this is the second generation of it. Problems from all of them. Even the new E-Techs have problems. The second generation of the E-Tech, but this is the flicker models. You had the flicker, the ram, all these here. These motors are trash. Everybody know they're trash. I figured, because you know they told me it only has 600 hours. I have the paperwork inside that says 600 hours on it. I had a few people tell me, hey, if they're running, you should be good. Maybe you got one of the ones that didn't have all the problems, but these things have non-stop problems. I'm not spending another dime on them. I've already ordered 2 new motors, which takes 52 weeks to come in. That's a year now that I'm gonna be stuck waiting for motors now. I'm not even buying any more used anything. I'm going all brand new. Y'all will see the brand when it gets here. I'm just hoping everything goes right with that. I put the down payment down. I'm just hoping everything goes right with that, and hopefully it doesn't take the whole 52 weeks to get it. But these motors, point blank period, are completely trash. This one, even after before it started vibrating, the check engine light came on this motor, which is the port motor, starboard motor. So the starboard motor, the light is on this one. I can crank it up right now. If I go under this starboard, I crank this motor up right now, you guys will see within a minute the check engine light comes on. And I'm like, I'm not paying for nobody to diagnose this anymore. I'm not worried about getting this thing fixed anymore. I am completely done. I'm over it. I've spent more money in these two motors than I did paying for the entire boat. I'm completely over and done with this thing. So I'm just gonna wait till the new motors come in, and I'll deal with it from there. So if you got a boat that you're purchasing that got these motors here, just tell them, look, I'm paying for the hull. The motors are crap. I don't even want it. If you want to, you can take them off. You can take it with it, run it if you want to, but it won't last long. Trust me. I've heard stories of the tops blowing clean off, the whole cowling blowing off. I've heard stories of the motor coming loose from the bottom and flying at the people in the front of them, or flying off to the people in the back of them doing tournaments, doing the bass tournaments and stuff. So I know these things have a lot of problems. And I got all genuine Evinrude parts for this thing, and non-stop problems. Brand new spark plugs that I had dialed in and everything like you're supposed to have done. The mechanic did though. The water pumps in the bottom. I've had the lower unit oils changed. I've done everything that I can do to this thing. And look at all the oil that's pumping out of this thing. He told me to run it. It was gonna pump double oil, and it is disgusting. But all in all, these motors are both crap. And it's like, somebody tell you had one that, gave you problems, that's one thing. I got two motors, and it literally is something happening to this one, it happened to that one. Go to this one, go to that one. Non-stop problems the entire time. Non-stop problems. So I am done. I'm over with it. Like I said 1,000 times, these motors are trash. Some of the worst motors they probably ever made. Probably why the company not even in existence anymore. I want them to come back, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? These things are problems, man. Really, really problems. And they'll both crank up right now. They will both crank up. Light comes on this one. This one, here at the house, it'll run fine. You put it in the water when it's under a little bit more pressure, and she shuts off. But all in all, these motors are trash. Run from them. Literally, you see a boat with it on, tell them you're just buying the hull. Take the motor off, do whatever you want. It's not worth it. Anyways, guys, I did a lot of stuff that I purchased to go on this boat, because I've done a lot of work to my house. So for right now, this is pretty much done. It's a done deal, guys. Anyways, Urban Fisherman, I'll get back at y'all on any updates that comes up with this thing. I did purchase a couple of weeks ago. Check this out. Every freaking time I take it out almost. So I bought this. This is actually what I kind of started with. Fishing here in Florida was my buddy Little Gene, who had a 14-foot John boat, but he had the side console. But I'll get into that story later. Again, guys, hey, if you like the video, like, subscribe, and stay away from these Everrude flickers. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Stay away. Peace.